Hello, this is Michael Langenberg with Confluence Local Marketing. Today, we're going to answer a very important question for small local businesses is the importance of SEO. And I'm pleased to announce that we have finally got a hold of Jack Lombardi with Chicago website design SEO company, one of the top SEO companies in the United States. He's also the top rated SEO company in Chicago. And we're going to ask him some questions about what's the most important thing in choosing an SEO company, what works and what doesn't. And I'm really happy to have you take the time out today with us, Jack, and answer some of these questions.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me, Michael. I really appreciate it.
First, Jack, what does a business owner need to know about SEO before they hire an SEO company?
Well, what they need to know about SEO is if they don't know the value of it, all right, and haven't done their research, they probably shouldn't pursue it because it's an investment. SEO is not a switch, okay? But SEO is also a great platform for online marketing because here's what the consumer, the average person, knows about the internet. They believe that who's ever at the top obviously is the industry leader of, whatever niche they're searching. So let me give you an example. Say if you have a plumber, right? And the plumber's at the top of Google. People are going to assume that business, that plumber, is the best plumber just because they're at the top, not understanding that it's really search engine optimization, which got that website to the top. Another thing they need to know, and I believe we were talking about this off camera, was what are the things a small business owner could do to protect themselves when looking for the right SEO company? And that is the most important thing a small business owner should do in the SEO process of just anything. Anything SEO is qualifying the company. And I believe we were talking a little bit about some of the mistakes that our clients have made before, working with us. And I'm just going to run through a few of them for you, and stop me if you've experienced the same thing in your time in, as being a web advertiser and internet marketer yourself. The first thing is, and it blows my mind that people don't do this, is go on and look at reviews. Start reading some reviews. Like, instead of going and just saying, okay, this guy called me up and he said he could do this and that, and then they pitch you some number that you think you can afford, you got to go do your due diligence on that business. And we have had, I'm going to be honest, probably over 50% of our clients in the very beginning, they've gotten burned because someone called them up and promised them and said, hey, we represent Google and we can get you on the top of Google and we have the permission to. I mean, that's all crap. I mean, that's just not even true. And they believed it because they gave them some lowball number, okay? And they said, well, what the heck?
I get those phone calls all the time, and I actually have some of my clients contacting me too, where they're like, hey, I just got a phone call. This company says they represent Google, and they need to verify our listing, and they'll help us get to the top, and it'll only be $99, and they guarantee 10 keywords to be at the top of the Google search results. And then it doesn't work, and a lot of times they might even work with some other SEO company, maybe who knows where in the world, and they promise top place result, and it doesn't work, and then they come back and say, we tried SEO and it didn't work for us.
Yeah, I hear that all the time, Michael. That's absolutely correct. It's kind of funny. People actually will call our company and start with that pitch, which is BS. It just baffles me. I've actually one time took one of those calls when I was having lunch with my wife, and I pretty much drilled them. And then, my wife was looking at me, a little cross-eyed, wondering what the heck I was doing. I was actually toying with them. And at the end of the call, I told the person that they should work for, a more reputable company because everything they said was pretty much a lie. And I asked them to go on Yelp and go search SEO Chicago, in which, as you know, we're the top rated company in the world on Yelp. No one has more reviews, and we have clients that contacted us from Ireland, from Australia, from the West Coast to the East Coast, just because we have so many great reviews on Yelp. So, that shut them up pretty quick. So the second thing, and that was in reference to reviews, just looking them up. The next thing is that, go look at their company. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, right? I think, my dad and mom used to always say, hey, proof's in the pudding of things. Well, this would apply as well. Proof's in the pudding. If you type SEO Services Chicago, we're at the top. If you put in SEO Service Chicago, we're at the top. There's a handful of other keywords who were either number one and number two, and then there's a handful that we're going after. If you go on Yelp and you search SEO companies or SEO services or SEO expert, we're at the top. The proof is in the pudding. So if you're in another state and go and you want to work with someone local, go look up this SEO company that called you. And if they're not at the top, how do you expect them to get your business at the top? I mean, arguably, SEO services, which is the most search term for the services that we provide, would be the hardest keyword to get because we're going up against other SEO companies for that keyword, and we're at the top. The proof's in the pudding. So if a business owner is in another state and they want to work with someone local, look for the guy that's at the top. I mean, that's pretty simple. If they could do it for their company, chances are they could do it for yours. Now, the next thing is, and this is the one I love, do they have a contract? A lot of SEO companies out there say, hey, no contract, no risk. All right, let's debunk that. So if there's no risk, then it means there's no risk to them because there's nothing written of an expectation of performance. And here's the thing. Even if they say, hey, we'll rank it first and then you pay us, the old saying, what's too good to be true is too good to be true. And even if they have a contract in place, I guarantee it's one-sided. Here's what happens. And we've actually had clients who went for this, and this is how it played out. They got a better deal going on with somebody else, and then they just dumped them. They just stopped doing their work. And then so, okay, you could say the client doesn't have any money out of pocket, so they didn't lose anything, but time is money. So they lost 5-6 months not knowing, hey, what the heck is going on, which ultimately leads them to think that SEO didn't work for their business, like you were saying earlier. And then the last thing, and this is, unfortunately, sometimes we have to have these conversations with prospects that come in, and obviously we feel these aren't a good fit because, unfortunately they need to go out and, see what we're saying, is that, do you have packages? All right. And I can understand the mindset of package, right? They went and they researched other SEO companies. And when an SEO company has a package, they're generally saying, hey, we'll do whatever you can afford. But they're not saying, hey, we're going to do what it takes to get you a result. So do you see the disconnect there, the difference?
Yeah, I think that it really explains a lot when you talk about those packages for an SEO company, because when you look at the cut and paste packages online, your business, any business, for the most part, it's going to be a lot different from every other business that's out there. Even a roofing contractor is going to be different in his roofing area than a roofing contractor in, let's say, Kansas. And when you're buying these cut and paste packages, everybody's getting the same thing. And that's, I think, why SEO really doesn't work for a lot of businesses when they look at it like that.
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
At the local level, because local SEO is completely different from a national level, as far as I understand it.
Yeah, I would agree. There's a second algorithm that you have to work with, and that's called the Google My Business. And so the second part of that is, like I said, we are going to sell you what you can afford, but we're not going to promise you it's what you need. And the second part of this is when did the client become the SEO expert? How are they supposed to know what they need? So it really shifts the focus off the SEO company and puts it on the client, and it allows the SEO company to come back with this rebuttal. When the client gets upset because they didn't get the performance that they were expecting, okay, because they were misunderstood what was going on, they're going to go back to the SEO company upset, and the SEO company is going to say, well, you have to spend more money. And so they've lost time, okay, by having to learn this themselves. And then what happens is they feel like they've been misled by the SEO company, but considering that the person never looked up or the client never looked up reviews, so they didn't know this was going to happen. And this is how a lot of SEO companies choose to use their business model, which I think is just absolutely crazy. And that's why they go out of business as well, is because eventually it catches up with them. Now, to recap, if they're not at the top, how are they going to get you at the top? If they don't have great reviews, well, there's something funny about it. If they have no reviews, well, that should be something funny about it too. If they have packages, I'll be honest with you, that's crazy. And then finally, to really drive it home with the contract part, the contract is important because not only does it bind you, it binds them, but even more important is by having that contract in place, SEO companies know this. They know that results take time. They know that every single one of the clients, unless they got a whole ton of money or been through the ringer once before, is going to start getting a little nervous at month 3, month 4. And the reason is it takes SEO experts, or, well, hold on, the few SEO experts out there, 3 months on average. Now, there's so many variables to what I said, so you can't hold me to it. But 3 months on average for an age domain that has no link profile to get them to the first page. And what happens is on month 3, the client will start freaking out because they think they might be getting screwed, right? Someone's just taking their money and all these horror stories start popping in their head. And what will happen if you don't have a contract in place to keep them honest is they're going to start wanting crazy reports so they know that things are getting done and they want to know what's been done. And the problem with that is you could give them a report. They won't know what the heck they're looking at, okay? So the fear really is, are you screwing me? So a good SEO company will have a contract in place and will hold their hand to the fire to get them through this very crazy time in their relationship. But a good SEO company will also provide a ranking report. And now it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but what they're going to do is they're going to put the keywords that they're after. And if they're a good SEO company, they're going to add a little bit more to balance out the link profile. And then they're going to email you this report. Like we have a system where we can email it daily. We can email it 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, or 30. But what we do in our contract is we email you this report every 30 days. And in the beginning, you get a benchmark of where you were, meaning say for a certain keyword, your website came up in position 25. And you'll see this keyword keep going up, which represents the work that we're doing for our client and ultimately making them feel secure that, yes, they're, we're not where I want us to be, but, we are making progress. And so those are pretty much the 5 things that a business owner needs to pay attention to when qualifying an SEO company to do their SEO.
I have one last question for you I want to talk about. And that is, I come across all these people where they say, my website designer or my IT guy, he put together a website and he's doing our SEO and his marketing. And what do you think about, what's the difference between a website designer and an internet marketer?
Well, the difference between a website designer and a internet marketer is essentially the difference between a mechanic and someone that builds hot rods. I mean, that's my best analogy I can give you. What I mean by that is the website designer, when they're contracted to build the website, they're contracted to build a website that the client wants on the client's terms. And that doesn't necessarily mean that website is built for conversion. That doesn't mean that website is built for that has the right language or sales copy language or the correct call to actions. Okay, so what will happen is a business owner will say, "Hey, I need a website," because they don't know. You know, you only know what you know, so you don't know how much you don't know. They go out there and they say, all right, I got a website, you know, and they expect, you know, everybody to come to it. I mean, I'm sure you've been through this, Michael. You know, hey, I got a website. Well, all right, good. That's great. And I give the analogy that you can have the best looking website in the world, but if you don't have search engine marketing, that's like putting a billboard out in the middle of the forest preserves. I mean, great billboard, but who's ever going to see it? So anyways, so the web designer builds this website that really doesn't have the correct marketing on it to really convert people from going from, you know, a visitor to actually someone that's warmed up to actually buy. It might get some calls, but the seduction of the sale happens the minute that that person clicks on the website. It comes down to how fast it is, what they see first. Does it address the questions that they'll have? Does it address the hang-up points, the sticky points in the sale process? And a lot of times, web designers build a website that the client wants because of the way it looks and not exactly how the way it works. And the second part, and this is a loaded question, so it's hard to explain it in just a few words, is the web designer does not build a website for SEO. So I always say, hey, you have a car, or you say you have a race car, and sure it has stickers on it and a roll bar and some nice tires on it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's built for racing because it misses the motor, the transmission, and all the things that make a race car fast. So in essence, it looks like a race car, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is. And so when we build websites, we build them for conversion and we build them for ranking. And, you know, people come to us all the time and say, hey, I got a website. I need you to rank it. Well, okay, that's great. But here's the problem. One, I can't guarantee that that website will rank because, again, it looks like a race car, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is. And number two, if I did get it to rank, the problem is if you don't convert well, if that website doesn't convert well, that's going to come back on us and look and make people look at us like, you know, hey, you got it to the top, SEO didn't work. And that, you know, comes up to the other question we were talking about online is, I believe you asked me, hey, Jack, you know, what's the number one reason why websites or SEO fails? And, you know, that's essentially, you know, is the website built to convert? Is the website optimized for the correct keywords? And is the website have the correct sales copy on it? Now, I'm sure with your form of marketing, it represents the same hurdles is mine, because when someone goes to it and they just don't feel it, they just don't connect. I mean, you know, shoot, that you know, you could get all the leads in the world, but if it doesn't convert, then all's a waste. Wouldn't you agree? That's right.
That's that final step. Someone visits a website. You know, unfortunately, statistically, only 96% of people will actually buy anything from a website or contact that business if it's the first impression. The first time someone visits a website. And having a website that really converts and has a call to action on it, no matter what you do, I think without that, you're really not going to see any success for anything that a business does.
You know, you just said something really important about the first impression, but there's another level with search engine marketing. So when someone searches the search term, like I was saying earlier, and they see the business at the top, they believe it's the best business. It also is the first impression again. And that solidifies what I was saying is like, hey, you know, this guy, whatever. I mean, this business is at the top. You know, this must be the best. And when you couple it with a great reputation management, and that's something we both actually do, we make sure, you know, the client is proactive with the reviews and everything. They can't lose. I mean, with high conversion, you got third-party endorsement, which is reviews, and the marketing's all been done. The SEO has all been done, ranking at the top. I mean, it's unbelievable. We've been able, and here's a real world example of something I did. I actually took a company right in your own neck of the woods in Naperville, and in 2 months, we went from concept to the guy not being able to keep up with the leads, and that's an HVAC company. So if you search AC repair in Naperville, you're going to see one of our clients not only at the top of Google, the Google My Business listings, but you're going to see in the first organic listing, you're going to see his Yelp listing, which he's got tons of reviews. And if you go on Yelp, you're going to see him at the top there. So that is effective search engine marketing. And that's how we've been able to really just knock it home for our clients and get them, the great results. And then, move on to, products that, or the things that you manage, which is the ads. But the foundation is already laid there, and anything we do is just gravy at that point.
Mm-hmm. So, to bring our meeting to an end, I know your time is really important. It took us a long time to get this meeting together. So I want to, thank you again for, taking that time of your busy day and your schedule to have this meeting and help us learn, and help educate other business owners on the value and how to make the right decision for an SEO company. But, what's some really good, sound advice you can give to a new business that is just getting started and hasn't been burned before? Because just about everybody has.
The sound advice is there's so many ways to look at it. I mean, I think we were talking about it earlier. Is Einstein's the more you know something about it, the harder it is to give a simple answer. My simplest answer and advice to a new business owner is to, when they put themselves on the web, because I could completely respect the DIY guy. He's going to try to save money. The sound advice I would give is if you're going to go put yourself on the web, make sure that your name, address, and phone number is consistent everywhere you do it. Because if it's not, then when they come to companies like ours, we have to go back and unravel their mess, and that puts us behind schedule. And remember I said about that variable thing, sometimes it takes 3 months, sometimes it takes more. When we have clients that come to us with citation profiles all over the place, we got to spend a lot of time correcting it. And Google is very slow to credit that, which, Michael, I think we're at about 90 days in my research. How about yours? Would you agree it's about 90 days for anything to be credited?
Yeah, I'd say it takes about 90 days.
Yeah, so they should understand that by putting themselves on the first or putting themselves on the web, there should be consistency across the board and do not keyword stuff. That's that right off the get-go. They already got one thing against them. Just put your business up there. Be very honest about your business. Wherever you can put your listing. Put good images that represent your business, and write a very thorough description. We see a lot of newbies come through. They didn't write a description. And honestly, if you went to a website with, a 1-line or 4-sentence description, would it feel credible to you? No. Or if you looked a business up on Yelp or Google, would it feel credible to you? No, of course not. So why would it be different? And that's the struggle that a lot of business owners have is having the right content. And, that's why we have writers that write for us, so we do provide the right content, because I believe that a new business owner in getting themselves on the web for the first time, they're going to go try to write something, some stuff about their business, and they're going to come to the conclusion that they don't know what the heck to write. So I guess to try to give you the simplest answer is if they're going to put themselves on the web, make sure their name, address, and phone number is the same on everything they do. Make sure that if they fill out, these different directories, that they put a good description without keyword stuffing, and they add images. That would be my best advice. And that lays a good foundation for search engine marketing later if they decide to hire, a company like ours.
Well, thank you, Jack. Again, this is with Jack Lombardi at Chicago Website Design SEO Company. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll have to do this again. I'm sure we'll have some other questions for you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you for your time as well, and good luck with everything with your business. You guys are really killing it, and I'm really proud just to be an observer or be part of speaking with you on it. You guys are just